Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we talk about problems people face in their day-to-day lives. Let's start with a video.
I have been married for almost 2 years now. It was an arranged marriage. We both are working people, he being a surgeon and I'm an assistant professor. We started talking when my parents considered him a good fit for me, and we quickly clicked together. Most of the things between us were discussed from the very start, so I can say that we knew each other well before we got married. After getting married, everything was perfectly fine, and it seemed like we were exactly made for each other. He worked for long hours and remained busy for the whole day while I got free around noon. I came home, would clean, do laundry, cook food, and wait for him. We had our dinner together and everything felt very good until this incident. One day, when he was in the hospital and I was at home doing laundry, I collected his clothes from our room, which were to be washed. I always check pockets before washing clothes, so I was just randomly checking a pant pocket when I found a note which had a phone number written over it. I was confused as to who would write a number on a note when it can be saved on the phone. I took that note and kept it in my dressing table drawer so I might ask my husband if it was something important. My instincts kept on telling me to try the number and see who it was. I had the weirdest thoughts, like it might be some woman, or let us say a girlfriend, or might be his ex, or someone like that. But I also had this thought that why would he write a woman's number on the note? There was only one way to clear my mind, and it was to dial that number. I took my phone and dialed the number. I was honestly shivering and prayed that there was nothing wrong. The call was picked, and it was a man's voice. I told him my husband's name and that I was his wife speaking. I told him that I found his number on a note and was just checking whose number it was so I might not lose it. He told me that he was a spy hired by my husband. I was a bit shocked and could not understand what was going on. I asked him why my husband had hired him, to which he answered that he was not supposed to disclose any information and cut the call. I could not decide whether to ask my husband about it or find it out myself. I also doubted that my husband might not tell the truth and hide things. When he came back home, we had dinner, and at the dinner table, I told him that I found the number in his pocket. He clearly became nervous and asked what note I was talking about. I brought the note and handed it over to him, asking who it was. I told him that I thought it might be important for him. He hesitantly told me that it was his colleague, who was a newly appointed doctor, and left his number on my husband's table. My throat dried, as he was, of course, lying. I did not tell him that I called on that number and knew who it was. I decided to find out what was going on by myself. I kept a check on his phone, but there were no unknown or mystery calls. There were several calls to that number on the note, which meant that the spy was active and something weird was going on. I quickly went to the messages and looked for that number's chat. I found the chat, but there were no clear messages. I had an idea. The next time I got my hands on his phone, I texted the spy, "My wife knows about the plan, and if she asks about it, you may share it so she does not doubt me." I waited for a reply, but there was none, so I deleted the sent message and prayed that he does not reply at all. I will be contacting the spy soon and will keep you guys updated. The things are so weird as to why a surgeon would hire a spy and lie about it to his wife. There is definitely something fishy. I have an update, guys. I called the spy, and he seemed quite convinced. I told him that I was just doubting that my husband might be involved in some weird stuff. He said that it was nothing like that, and he was only hired to collect information about a woman whose name was XYZ. He told me that it was all he could tell me. I knew this name, and I was very sure who it was. It was my husband's ex-girlfriend, whom he had told me about before we got married. This information just increased my curiosity. My husband had told me that they dated for a couple of years. His ex cheated on him, so he dumped her and moved on. If that was the case, Why would he spy on her and be interested in what she was doing? He was the one who left her and claimed that he never looked back. Then what was going on? All these questions could only be answered by my husband, so I had to confront him sooner or later. I told my husband that we needed to talk, so I would be waiting for him in the evening. I saw nervousness on his face when he was leaving. When he returned, we sat in the lounge for the discussion. I straightforwardly asked him why he had hired a spy. He instantly denied it and said he was clueless about what I meant. I told him that I called that number on the note and the person who answered was a spy I'd hired by you. I also told him that the spy had already disclosed the target's name. He was speechless and could not look at me. I asked him why he was interested in spying on his ex-girlfriend, who he had dumped a long time ago. He kept quiet and did not answer. I could not understand how to react as things were getting weirder and weirder. I raised my voice and asked him what was going on, to which he replied that he was just keeping a check if she was doing well and was not in any trouble. I yelled and asked why it concerned him. He yelled back that because he was still in love with her and could not get her out of his mind, so as she was not keeping in contact with him, he had to hire a spy. He told this and left the house. I am so torn apart and could not believe what I actually heard from my husband. I had so many questions like why did he even marry me if he was still in love with his ex? Why did he still chase her if she was not interested in keeping in contact? Why did he cheat on me like that? Why did I deserve all this? I was so confused and hurt at the same time. There was no way I could feel better. I called my friend to come over and stay with me until I felt better, as my husband had not come home since that evening. My friend says I should leave him on his own and move out of this relationship. She says that a man who's still obsessed with his ex cannot be trusted anymore, and I should not waste any of my time anymore. It's not easy for me to leave like this, as I have already invested so much in this marriage, especially in my heart and emotions. My peaceful home has turned into devastation in a few days. I still need answers to my questions, and how can I move on without closure? My parents say that I should wait for him to come back to try to contact him. They say that he'll definitely be having some sort of reason, as he is a decent and responsible guy. But I do not understand how he will explain cheating. He said he was still not over his ex-girlfriend and cannot get her out of his mind. So what was I waiting for? Divorce papers to arrive? I do not care what all of them say. I'm just done with this marriage. It was my friend's idea to try and contact my husband's ex-girlfriend and find out what was actually going on. We tried hard and found her on Facebook. I texted her and told her who I was and also that I needed to talk about something urgently. As soon as I received a reply, I told her that my husband had been spying on her and if she knew what was going on. She asked me if I could give her my number so she might call me. She called me and told me that my husband was totally a freak who would not leave her alone. I told her about what my husband had shared about their relationship, to which she told me that she never cheated on him but was just done with him. She told me that my husband would go through her phone, ask her friends about her whereabouts, and would even follow her sometimes. Whenever she tried to talk about this, he would act timidly and say that he was madly in love and was just possessive. She told me that she was done and ended the relationship, but he was not ready to step back. She had even blocked him from everywhere, but he was unstoppable. She told me that she was going to file a case against this spying thing and get the thing sorted out. I know what I have to do. There is no way by which I am getting back to this man. I am done and this marriage is over. NTA, you are the bravest woman and you do not need to listen to anyone while making a decision. Leave that jerk behind and keep moving with your life. You are a strong and independent woman who does not need to cheat like him. You better not try to look back at him. I did not like the way your parents suggested you wait and see what that maniac had to say. The friend played a vital role and got the man kicked out as he deserved. I hope you heal quickly and move on, as life has so much more to offer you. That cheater never deserved you. NTA. OP's husband is the a-hole, and the parents are just losers who could not stand by their girl. How smoothly was he running the marriage, as if nothing was going on behind the scenes? The OP would have never found out what was going on if she did not find that note. He shamelessly lied about that number first and then bluntly told about his obsession with his ex. Let us see how he feels when he will have to face the police. The crazy person wanted both women at the same time and now is not left with even one. This was so pathetic of him.
Next story.
I, 46, male, and my girlfriend, 25, are expecting a baby girl in June. Though the baby was a surprise, we are both beyond thrilled to be parents and are counting down the days until she gets here. In preparation for her arrival, I surprised my girlfriend over the weekend by starting to work on the nursery. I bought paint, a crib, dresser, rocking chair, toys, anything you could possibly need for a new baby, and set up the boxes in our spare room to show my girlfriend when she returned home from work. Once she got home, I blindfolded her, led her up to the room, and then took the blindfold off to finally reveal my surprise. I had been working all weekend. Instead of being happy or saying thank you, she just looked confused. When I asked what was wrong, she explained that she thought we would be moving once our lease was up in May. We live in a great house, in a great neighborhood, with some of the best schools, preschools, parks, etc., and she's never even mentioned moving until just then. When I asked why she wanted to move, she said it was because my ex-wife lives in the same neighborhood and she doesn't want to run into her when doing things with the baby. While it is true that my ex-wife lives in the same neighborhood with my kids from my previous marriage, we hardly ever see her or run into her. Even then, my kids from that marriage are nearly teenagers at this point, so it's not like they're likely to all be on the same schedule or going to all the same places. I have a good relationship with my ex-wife and our kids, so I really have no idea where this is coming from. I told her that there's no reason to move, and she's been extremely upset. She even went to stay with her sister for the night, and that was on Monday. She refuses to come back until I change my mind. So, AITAH? To everyone asking, my ex-wife and I divorced 4 years ago, and I didn't start dating my girlfriend until 2 years ago, and she moved in 8 months ago. She was on the pill, but that's the only form of BC we were using. We did discuss that if she were to happen to become pregnant, then that would be a happy surprise, and it was. My ex and I divorced because she was cheating on me with multiple men, including my friend. As someone who also is in a relationship with an older guy, I can see where she's coming from. I constantly have to remind my boyfriend that he can't just make decisions for me because he's older and thinks he knows best. I'm still young and deserve my independence from him to an extent. If you're constantly telling her what you think is best, she's going to get tired of it. Updating this to YTA, if you're trying to just duplicate the life you had, your girlfriend definitely sees this and is over it. YTA, I came to that conclusion by reading your responses before commenting. You are a very controlling man. Just like the ex-wife, she was your secretary. You traded up for the newest model. She doesn't want to live the same life your ex-wife and you lived. She's in her mid-20s while you are in your 40s. Is there a reason why someone 20 years younger than you is the only type you go for? Is it a control thing?
Next story.
So, background information. I have or had this friend, let's call her Y. She's that kind of girl who does not listen to warnings and lands herself in nasty situations. It was never bad until she got a boyfriend and didn't listen to me. So Y had this very toxic boyfriend. She always talks about how she loves him, etc. I always told her that he's using her and that he's not worth it and that he was cheating on her. She did not believe me and told me that I will never understand her feelings because I, quote, an ugly single person like you would never understand what having a real man feels like. You're just jealous. At that moment, I didn't even bother to keep the friendship between us. The conversation went like this. Me. So you're choosing a man that you dated for a month over our 3-year friendship. Why? Oh my God, you've always been jealous of me, weren't you? You never liked that I was always better than you. Now that I got a boyfriend, you want to ruin my relationship? Me. You know what? I won't even bother. Don't talk to me anymore. And true to my words, I blocked her on all social media. We had some friends in common, so it was kind of impossible to not see her, but we never spoke to each other. Our mutual friends told me that she says nasty things behind my back. I just shrugged and told them that I didn't care. Besides me, 2 of our 5 friends group, we are 7 including me and Y, saw Y's boyfriend cheating multiple times. They did tell her. She did not believe them and cut them out of her life. Apparently her boyfriend told her that they tried to get him to their bed, which was not true, because they both are dating 2 other girls. They did not tell Y, because she's kind of homophobic. One day, after 6 months of not talking, Y came to me crying. Apparently her now ex-boyfriend shared a video of them doing the nasty to all his friends in the chat group. They started calling her nasty things and laughing at her. She found out about him cheating, etc. I'll be honest, and here, where I may be the AH, I did not care, nor do I pity her. I told her, why did you come here? I'm not your friend for you to vent your problems at me. You made your choice. I warned you, deal with it. She called me the B word and an a-hole. I just shrugged and added, you've been saying nasty things behind my back all this time. Do you really think I'll help you after all that? I warned you, didn't I? So why are you crying? 3 years of friendship, you threw that out of the window for a man, and just for that. You're not worth another second in my life. I may have been harsh, but I believe that she needed to hear that. Even my 2 other friends didn't want to help her or hear her out. But Y's sister is calling me an a-hole for not helping Y, and so do the other 3 friends that still kept in touch with her. So, AITA? NTA. There are those people in life that really feel like they can say and do anything wrong to you and you should be okay with it. There are consequences to actions. I don't think she should have given up her boyfriend for your friendship, but I do believe that she should have heard you out and said, I'll just be your friend, but I'm not breaking up with him. She can do those crazy mean things to her sister and she still stays her sister. A friend does not have to put up with any crap. NTA? But something to keep in mind. Her ex was abusive. I'd be willing to bet that he was behind her talking shit and the blow up that ended your friendship. Gaslighting is a horribly powerful thing to someone who doesn't have a better idea of what true love, and I mean the respect and caring that's involved, should look like. Not saying she isn't at fault. She definitely doesn't deserve your friendship. But she may not have deserved the last tidbit as much as others are saying. Then again, I could be completely wrong too. But I don't think so.